Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I wanted to just close tonight's show with a couple of things that come out of Halle Goddery's discussion of her book, The Fuse, her story of mental health issues, of addiction issues, of living this challenging bicultural, biracial life that she led. And how the arts have been her salvation to a certain extent. And I think that, the book sounds fascinating. I'm really looking forward to reading it. And Halle's story is really quite compelling, I think. But I think there are these truths that come out of the discussion. One is that it is surprising how many people have mental health issues in our society, and it needs to be something we talk about and address. I think it's caused, an issue with homelessness. I think it's caused an issue with addiction. It's caused an issue with so many different things that we need as a society to talk about and figure out a better way of addressing it. Because as she says, when it's one of those cultural things or family things or societal things that you don't talk about, it ends up creating a bigger problem. And so I think that's number one. Number two is addiction. And again, there are, I think, an astounding number of people that have addiction problems, whether it's to alcohol, whether it's to drugs, whether it's to other things. And I don't think we need to be ashamed of it. I think it's again, something that needs to be acknowledged and hopefully addressed. And the fact that, Halle had this supportive partner, this friend group, this therapist, was all, I think critically important for her. And I think that's critically important for anyone. I think, over and over, we hear about people that have stories with either mental health and or addiction or both, that are alone and don't get through it, or have a support group and a supportive family, a supportive partner, a supportive friend group, sponsor, AA group, whatever that is, then they get through it. And so I think we need to lend a hand to our fellow human being, our other citizens, our brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, etc., to lend them a helping hand through the process. One of the interesting things, and I'm on Saga 960 Radio, Mississauga. More than 57% of all of Mississauga residents have lived in Canada for less than 10 years. So this, bicultural phenomena that Halle has described, I think, is something that a lot of people experience. And the way she talked about how she looked different and she was uncomfortable with that. She wanted to get a nose job to fit in more. That she grew facial hair, and that wasn't considered appropriate for a female at the time. All sort of speaks the truth that I think a lot of people in Mississauga, a lot of people in the world, a lot of people in Canada end up experiencing. And while not lots of people have this bicultural family life, she certainly did. And I think more and more people have. And it's interesting that it's not just the first generation, it's the second generation. So she wasn't the first generation to come to Canada. She was the second generation of a mixed religion, mixed race union. And she found that challenging. And I think that that's something we have to accept, that a lot of people will find that challenging, and we need to acknowledge it. But then I think the beautiful truth that comes out of all this is how arts were helpful to her, poetry and writing. And I have heard over and over again from so many people how, this one person came to the Mississauga Summit when I was chairing it and spoke to one of our groups that said, and I'm going to paraphrase, not perfectly, but it was something to the effect of, when your voice fails you, your arts speak for you. And the point being that when you couldn't speak up for yourself, you could speak up through poems or writing or painting or dance or song or whatever it was. And I think people that have mental health issues, I think people that have other challenges in life, I think people that get old, I think people that are autistic, people, go through the list of all these people that have some challenges in life. I think the arts do end up being very critically important and speak to them. And so I think that we need to be thankful for that. I think we need to appreciate that. I think we need to buy some books by Canadian authors and poems. I've gone to a couple of book readings that are just, really fun. and quite enjoyable. And I've interviewed numerous different authors on my radio show, which I really quite enjoy. And I've read some of the books that they've been kind enough to send to me. And it's been really a pleasure. We don't have to all read the exact same, top 10 book from Amazon. We can read different authors and different books. And that I think it is very therapeutic, whether for other people or frankly yourselves. And so writing, I found very therapeutic. Doing my radio show, I found very therapeutic. I haven't written a poem, not in a long, long time. Maybe that'd be kind of fun to try. But then also as a society, we should support that. This architect that announced the renovation of the St. Lawrence Center and called it the soul of the city, that the arts and culture establishments and institutions that we create and the places that we make for people to go and either develop creatively their art and or exhibit their art end up being the souls of our city. I love that. So let's make sure that, number one, we help people that have got mental health issues or addiction issues or integration into society issues because of who they are, where they come from, or whatever. And then also that we support the arts, because I think that that's helpful to all of us. And I think it is the soul of our city. My two cents. Thanks. I remind you, I'm on every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock on 960 AM. I have a real pleasure doing this show. I've got over 1,500 interviews, over 1,000 shows. I've met just some wonderful, wonderful people. So thank you for sharing your lives with me. Good night, everybody.